One of the advantages of being a member of a Cactus and Succulent Society is the chance to listen to talks given at many of our meetings. This talk was given by Simon Wadham, one of our members and a renowned cactus cultivar nurseryman.
And I was able to organise a visit to Uncle Chorn's cabin, I was quite fortunate. I speak a little bit of Thai. I lived in Thailand for a few years. I actually took this photo to remind myself to build one of these because I need one of these for propagation. But I thought I'd put it here because it shows you what his setup is. It's this old metal framed greenhouse. The whole thing is built on top of a swamp. When I got there, he was propagating Haworthia, variegated Haworthias, all sorts of amazing things there. I couldn't get over these. I mean, if you see one variegated Haworthia in Australia, you're pretty lucky. So I thought I'd ask how much this truncata with the red on it is. This was 600 Australian dollars. Yeah. So they're not that cheap. Anyway, the thing that really impressed me at Uncle Chorn's was the cacti. I mean, I'm a cactus person. And just large specimens. Each one of these was probably nearly a foot tall. Every plant almost perfect. There was very few exceptions. And it wasn't just like one bench of this. It was bench after bench after bench. There's a crested one there. Your head starts to spin after a while. This plant here was probably, again, dinner plate size. This is a super cabuto. This is an old Hanazono. Again, this was 25 centimetres tall. A beautiful V-type super cabuto and a beautiful V-type Onzuka. And you can see by the size of the flower that these are big plants. Each one of these Vs represents a time that the plant's flowered, so it's a very mature plant. Another really good V-type. This is an Astrophytum mysterious cultivar, and most of us who know Astrophytum mysterious know a little sand dollar, but they can grow very large with time. I actually asked the bloke who was there that day, how long the nursery had been going for. He was the grandson of the person that set this nursery up. It's over 40 years old, this nursery. And some of these plants are probably that age. They had some nice variegates. There's a variegate asterius and a variegate myriostigma. This plant was probably 2 feet tall, I'd say. And every one of those areoles represents a flower. So, gee, how many years has that been growing for? But this bench probably had the biggest of them all. A couple of these were nearly 1 metre tall and just spectacular. I mean, you really can't imagine plants like that until you see them in person. A big crest out the back there. So we'll have a bit of a closer look at some of these. I think this is probably sort of an ornatum Onzuka cross or something. It's a bit different from a normal Onzuka. Onzuka looks more like this. Onzuka is an extra white form of this Astrophytum myriostigma. There's a couple more big plants. This one was interesting. It was offsetting. I've never seen this form. It's quite different. Again, look at those beautiful V markings on every areole. Just stunning in person. These things are more like sculptures than plants, I think. Here we've got a gecko for scale. They're pretty big geckos in Thailand too, probably 20 centimetres long. They've got some really huge ones, but this is a small species. So this was one of those big plants that was nearly 1 metre, probably 80, 90 centimetres tall. This is a hakun. Hakun, the name means cloud in Japanese because these white patches are like clouds. This is a big Fukuyu myriostigma. This type is called Banjaku, an 8-ribbed Fukuyu myriostigma. This crest, what I think is really interesting about this crest is they grew it to this size before it even started cresting. How they knew it was going to crest, I don't know, but good luck that it did. That was an amazing specimen. Another crest. Yeah, myriostigma crest is pretty rare. I've been trying to get one for years. I've grown thousands of them. I haven't had a single crest. And this is a myriostigma nudum crest. Again, all of these are really large plants. I'm not sure what's going on with these. I mean, obviously this is a variegate, but they're very monstrous in a lot of ways. They're not normal myriostigmas. Big variegated 4-sided plant. Again, more beautiful variegates. Sometimes this is referred to as a reverse variegate when the plant's mostly yellow with a little bit of green. Yeah, it's strange that it will grow so much yellow and then a little patch of green and then more yellow and then it will put a little bit more green out. This cultivar is known as Kaiko, with these notches, which the typical myriostigma doesn't have Kaiko. It doesn't have notches like that. This is the myriostigma cultivar Trichostatum, the three-sided form. Now, people often say about this one that it's not stable, the three-sided form, but I reckon if a plant can get to 2 feet tall and still be three-sided, it's a pretty stable form. And this one here, this started life as a variegate, but it's actually got a three-sided offset as well. So the three-sided gene is quite strong in that, to occur on an offset. Yeah, this is a humongous star-shaped Asterias supercabuto. By humongous, I mean, I can't think, again, soccer ball size, big flat soccer ball. Beautiful. Hey, I'll put my hand in that one to give you a bit of scale. That one was a bit smaller than the others. So I don't even know what to call this one. I guess it's Kaiko Hakujo. Hakujo's a Japanese word for the white belt in karate. And they use that term for that white woolly line along the ribs. And there was quite a few plants there that were hard for me to identify and seem to be, I'm guessing they're sort of breeding projects and they're quite new forms, haven't even been named, a lot of them. I'll show you a few of those now. This is Fukuyu form, which I've shown you plenty of plants of this before. It's got these notches, but these sort of semi-rib-like things between the ribs. What I found interesting about this is I've seen 8-sided. This one's an 11, I think, 1, 2, 3, 10-sided. This one's a 12-sided, which is interesting. And I actually spotted a 4-sided one in there. I couldn't find the photo of it. So, and I've recently seen a 3-sided Fukuyu. So, first they breed a cultivar with a certain trait, and then they cross it with other cultivars that have another trait, and then they select for plants that have a combination of both traits. And it's a very time-consuming process, and sometimes you'll be lucky if you get 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000 that shows the combination of traits that you're after, because most of the traits tend to be governed by recessive genes, so they don't come up very often. Again, this is another one that I have no idea what you call this, but it's a myriostigma cultivar. Deep notches, beautiful white markings. Again, this is a myriostigma cultivar, unnamed, not sure what you'd call it. Got a bit of Kaiko, a bit of Fukuyu, a bit of Hakujo, a bit of Hakun. It's all there. A monstrose myriostigma. This one I've no idea what it is. My best guess is that it's a now how do we say this? Huahulense. It's a similar to myriostigma, a Huahulense Kaiko, I think, but it's got a bit of Hakun going on as well.